Hello and welcome to Linxtraveler. Today we're at San Clemente Municipal Golf Course in San Clemente, California. From the back tees, the course is about 6,400 yards with a rating of 70.9 and a slope of 124. Starting us off is a shorter par 4 measuring about 345 yards from the back tees with the driving range on your right. Not a whole lot of trouble here, and most players will be hitting a short iron to pitch into the green. Shots landing on the screen are going to tend to drift right towards the ocean, which is a popular theme here on most holes at the Muni. Number 2 is a 150-yard par 3 that typically plays into a little bit of a headwind. Most shots, once they hit the green, are going to bound left towards the ocean, so hard to get up and down if you miss right as everything slopes away from you. Ideally, you want to be below and left of the pin putting up the hill on this back-to-front sloping green. Hole number 3 is about 350 yards from the back tee, and longer players can hit less than driver to stay short of the grassy drainage area, maybe 50 yards short of the green. Short irons and wedges hit into this hole tend to take a hard first bounce and not stop as quick as other greens. Hole number 4 is a 380-yard par 4 from the back tees with a pretty wide landing area. Right is no good here as you'll be shut out from the green by the large trees. With a good tee shot, you should have a short iron, which again tends to bounce right towards the ocean. Number 5 is a 540-yard par 5, which turns you back towards the clubhouse and usually plays into a little bit of a wind. Left is out of bounds, so try to favor the right side of the fairway. Also very little roll on the fairway, so tough to reach into. Most will end up with a short iron pitch for their third into one of the tougher greens here, which slopes pretty hard from right to left. So ideally, you want to be playing below and left of the pin here on 5. Number 6 is a 400-yard par 4, which seems to be one of the toughest on the course. You have out of bounds on the left and the driving range on the right. I like trying to stay aggressive with the driver as the trouble clears up around 250 yards from the back tees. If you can pull off a solid drive, you can look to make birdie on one of the less severe breaking greens and the only hole on the course without a bunker. One thing to note on this hole is that it is one of the few that breaks away from the ocean. Number 7 is an uphill par 5 that plays longer than the stated 485 yards, but with a good drive you can get it on or up near the green and have a good shot at making 4. With your approach into the screen, try to keep it right as anything left tends to bound further left into trouble, which makes your up and down less likely. The green slopes from back to front and the downhill putts across the green can be quite tricky. Number 8 is a par 4 that plays about 430 yards from the back tee. The bunkers on the right need about a 250-yard carry to cover, so plan accordingly. The approach shot usually requires a half club more to get it to the hole. The left-hand portion of the green will break towards the ocean, but if you're putting closer to the bunker, the mound in front can influence the putt to break the other way. Number 9 is a par 3 that plays about 160 yards and usually a little downwind and true to the yardage. Pretty straightforward shot here, so just play your standard mid to short iron in. Another back to front sloping green with a large ridge in the middle dividing the green. We start off the back 9 with this 400-yard par 4 that typically plays downwind, where you'll be left with a short iron wedge pitch into another green that slopes from left to right. There's out of bounds on the left and some light rough in the number 1 fairway on your right, so don't miss left. Once you're on the green, the majority of the break is going to again be towards the ocean, but keep the mound near the bunker in mind as that can change the break a bit if you're putting near it. Number 11 is a short par 5 that plays about 490 yards and typically downwind. This is another hole that plays facing south, and you want to favor the left side of the green and the fairway here if possible. Easily reachable in 2 for the longer hitters, and definitely a hole to be aggressive. Really try to favor the left side of the green with your approach, as right in the trees is a super tough up and down. Another shorter par 5 here, number 12, that plays less than 500 yards, but typically back into the wind. Out of bounds on the right, and the tee shot here is critical, and you just can't miss right. You can even aim for the 11th fairway and be just fine. The fairway slopes from right to left and the green is quite receptive, so try to keep it under the hole as the uphill putts are makeable. Definitely a hole to play aggressively and look to make a 4. 13 is probably the toughest hole in the course, as it typically plays about 200 yards or longer and uphill from the back tees. There's out of bounds right and ice plant left, so you have to play your most trusted shot you have here. The green slopes from front to back and can be very fast on downhill putts. Do your best to make a 3 here and get on to the next hole. 14 is a 300-yard uphill par 4 with out of bounds on the left, so try to favor the right side of the fairway, as errant shots to the right tend to funnel back towards the fairway. From the back tees, the bunkers come into play around 230, so play something short of that. Another hole to try to keep below the pin on your approach, as the downhill putts can be fast. Number 15 is a tough downhill 190 plus yard par 3 that typically plays into a left to right wind. Favor the right side of the green, as left of the bunker makes for a near impossible up and down. Definitely the most picturesque hole here at the Muni, so look to get your selfie of you and your crew on 15 with the Pacific Ocean in the background. Number 16 is one of the most challenging and quirkiest holes on the course, with options off the tee for this dogleg left that plays around 400 yards and much longer the further right you go. Longer players can hit driver or 3-wood down left of the trees and into the bottom fairway, but the standard shot is to hit a draw that shapes into the top fairway. Your approach shot will typically play a little short, as the prevailing wind is at your back into this multi-tiered green. Number 17 is an uphill dogleg left that is one of the more challenging tee shots on the course. Look to stay out of the large group of trees to the left at about 200 yards, and the fairway bunkers come in about 250 off the tee. Your mid to short iron approach will tend to bounce left towards the ocean on one of the more severe breaking greens on the course. Number 18 is a pretty straightaway par 4, 400 yards that plays downhill with no reason to really hold back anything here off the tee, as most of the trouble is short. Ideally, you're coming in from the left side of the fairway to an elevated green that slopes from back to front and left to right. Definitely an opportunity to score here if the pin is up. So try staying below the hole to make your 3 on the way back to the clubhouse.